do you want to be referred to?
Eric is okay.
Eric is fine? Okay.
Internet stuff is like always like, yeah.
Yeah, because I know you got a couple of them. All right.
Yeah, like loose threads. It's I kind of like the name. It's actually like from the tabletop game I just played.
Nice.
I like came up with the name, and then wait a second, I could use that channel instead of like Ernst Mocker, which like is incredibly stupid.
Oh, my audio's on a little bit of a
based
delay.
on like a very old thing, and I don't want to use it anymore. Actually.
Okay, so we're gonna start right here.
Anyway,
welcome back to ATB Attack the Backlog. Everybody, this is just me going through my backlog, and Final Fantasy Mystic Quest has been on here for a while. I've got Eric with me, so y'all should be hearing him.
hi.
And let us know how the audio is, because I know that's always weird. Last time we were playing this, and I remember there was a puzzle that I had to do that got reset because I pushed like one block way too far, and then I had to redo like 2 minutes of stuff. So we just called it there. I'm gonna restart it just in case. And let's see. I don't remember how you're supposed to do this. Let me go inside the thing first. Eric, have you played any of these Final Fantasy games?
I played this one when I was 11, I think. I think I got it for 10. 11. I think it was 95. I think I got it for my birthday.
Yeah.
And I played it a bunch. I have still memories that I took the guidebook. The game came with the guidebook. I took the guidebook on our like summer vacation, and I was like looking at the I was stuck at a dungeon, and I looked at the map and like figured out the way through the dungeon on my vacation. And the first thing I did when I went back was like play the game again.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to learn that. Yeah, now I know how to get through this. So let's get it. And
yeah, I spent a lot of time as a kid reading guidebooks for games I didn't own.
Yeah. And aside from that, because I live in Europe, we didn't get any Final Fantasies.
This was the first one you got.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it was called Mystic Quest Legend. Only knew Final Fantasy back then from like looking at video game magazines where they were talking about imported games, and there was like Final Fantasy whatever, like 3 or 4, and like, oh wow, what are those games?
Did you get the Game Boy ones?
Again, only like Mystic Quest.
Okay, so that's why it was Mystic Quest Legend.
Yeah, I was like kind of confused. I was actually a bit confused that Mystic Quest Legend didn't have anything to do with Mystic.
Yeah.
And they were both like sort of part of different like game series. Like Mystic Quest, the Game Boy one, was then part of like the Mana series, and this one was more like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it was Final Fantasy. What was it? Adventure? Adventure here.
Though the Game Boy Mystic Quest also had a chocobo in it.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. It did have chocobos.
Yeah. So that was that, and then the first and then I played some with emulators. I think I played Final Fantasy VI until the Floating Continent, and then I realized that I was completely underleveled, and like frankly the random encounters were incredibly annoying. Because I played only this game, and there were
You're like, what is this?
It's like, oh great, I always know where the enemies are, and I can kind of plan my way around the area to where I want to go, instead of like walking around not thinking that anything would happen, and then like you immediately get into an encounter. And I think I also played a bit of I played all of the SNES Final Fantasies in some ways on emulator back then, but my English wasn't that good, and again, random encounters and all that stuff, never finished them. Played Final Fantasy 12 on my PlayStation 2. That was the first Final Fantasy that I actually bought, and so far the only one. And yeah, now I've like played Final Fantasy 5. I think like 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Finished it, and Final Fantasy 6. Yeah, I did the 4-Job Fiesta the last few years.
Yeah, I had a friend who started with 4-Job Fiesta and was like, they were like, that's definitely not the way to play that game. Immediately.
For me, it was like the first playthrough was like normal, and
Yeah.
then the year after that 4-Job Fiesta, because I really like Final Fantasy 5, like in general, like because it's like you can get so many broken combinations of classes and skills and everything else, and
Yeah, it's definitely like the reason that I like job systems in RPGs.
yeah,
Even though I never like was able to finish it, because most of these I played on emulators, because that's just how you got like we didn't have really game systems, because you know those things were expensive. So I just learned about like all of these games after the fact on, you know, while we were playing them on emulators and stuff. Can I climb this? This is not a climbing wall.
By the way, how much are you like against backseat gaming and whatever? Like, how much do you want advice?
I'll ask if I have a question.
Okay.
I think this one just goes here, right? I'm just making the jump from here.
Like it.
I'm just trying to make sure, because last time I pushed it like one space too many,
do a
and
save
then
state,
fuck
but
me.
you can't, right?
No, you can't, because this is not.
But can you save in here?
You can.
You can save anywhere,
You can save,
right?
Yeah, you can. You're right. You can save anywhere.
So maybe do a save, and
there we
maybe
go.
it stays this way.
I hope so. Will that work? I think that'll work. The perspective is weird here. And then I think
if it doesn't, you
this
can
one
still put it back at least.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You can save anywhere. Hey, welcome back, Magpie.
Hello.
Looks like we got quite a few people in here.
Yeah.
Turns out when you tell people ahead of time that you're gonna do a stream, they show up.
I always try to do that, but no one shows up. Like, I always say I'm talking to ghosts because I don't know who's there.
Yeah,
like, sometimes there's one.
I always kind of feel like I'm talking to a ghost sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
But even if you just got a
I'm
few
good
people, it's like fun.
Yeah, it's definitely more fun. Like, I'm still good at talking to myself.
Yeah, I think you're a little better at it than me. I'm like always just kind of like, I don't know what the fuck is happening.
It's like sometimes like weird, and when you're tired, and then there's minutes of silence. What? I have to say something.
Manual. Yeah, it's like, what do I say? I've been thinking that like maybe I should like come in with a plan sometimes, because like sometimes you can just, it doesn't matter if it's about the thing that you're doing, right? Oh, is this? Oh, you press up to cast fire on everybody. Okay, cool.
One thing I did like years ago, before I went English on the internet, I did like German YouTube videos about games and like first impression stuff about like small games and whatever. And at some point, I like, especially when I did like Let's Play stuff like of Spelunky and whatever, I came to realize like, okay, keep talking. Just talk very fast and don't think about what you're saying. Very often, like having like a strong coffee right before recording also helped, because it could really, really quickly. It's a bit harder for me in English to get that fast.
Right.
Yeah, it's like it's something that also I think gets better with practice. Just like
That's
also
true.
finding your own approach to stuff. Like that's the same thing. You're like not so much worrying about how other people are doing things and more getting comfortable with how you want to do things, because that's what it's about. It's not about like, other people who are successful are doing it that way, so I have to be in the same, like behave the same way.
Yeah, I think
If that's not the case, yeah, sorry.
Wait, what was I? Okay, so I can get up here now.
Yeah.
But do I need another ice piece?
No.
No, wait. I missed something. What were you gonna say?
Go back.
Back here,
A little
right?
bit. No, go back down. Go back to the starting area.
Oh, I see. I gotta
because-
put one right here so I can jump it right.
Yeah.
Okay. I have like a hard time like with the directions and
Yeah. For me, it's like always again. I vaguely remember I played it like back when I discovered the emulator. I played this game again because in the meantime we like I shared a Super Nintendo with my brother, so we were like both sharing games and whatever. And at some point we sold it because we were like kind of switching over to PCs.
Yeah.
And after I discovered emulators, I was, I want to play this game again. I really liked it. I was kind of regretting at the time selling the Super Nintendo because I like really missed a bunch of those games. And I was playing it, and the first time basically without a guidebook, and then I realized, wait a second, this is much harder and much more complicated than I thought, because like with the guidebook you can just look it up where you have to put the pillars and whatever, and it's easy.
Thankfully, by the time I got to these emulators, GameFAQs was just a thing. Although I don't think I used GameFAQs that much because it was just like this huge text file, and I was like, and like computers were really slow, right?
Yeah.
So even just like downloading like a couple kilobytes was like.
I didn't have internet on my PC at home. Like I had to always go to my dad's PC, connect to the internet, download a bunch of ROMs, transfer them. I think to a floppy disk still, because they were like fairly small. I think
you could put like one or two ROMs on a floppy.
Yeah, or maybe I no. Did I burn a CD? I don't know. Like I did something.
Burning CDs was kind of late.
Stick. It was like when I started using emulators. What, like 2003 or 4, around that time. It was during my last 2 years of school, and we like flash drives were only just coming into like usage.
Oh, they were like super expensive too. They were like 512 megabytes was like $30.
Yeah, we had like a bit like of a snobby like physics and computer science teacher like was like wrinkling his nose at like friends of mine and me, like talking about like burning a CD and like, no, use a USB stick. And like, yes.
The fuck's a USB stick?
Yeah. I mean, I saw one, but it was like this new thing, and like, wow, cool.
Yeah. Remember zip drives? It was like miraculous that you could put 100 megabytes on something.
I never had those, so but I heard of them, and I was just looking at them. Wow, giant diskettes and like.
I think my dad had one, but you also needed like a proprietary drive. So like, it was like amazing that the library near the university library near the house had like drives for them. Oh yeah, Magpie, I did add the stream to the chat to the stream. That took a little figuring out, but thankfully it wasn't too difficult. I don't know what's up. Why is this guy bubbling? Is it because I like put him down to low health?
Yeah.
The unique damage animations is like really good because
it's.
Oh shit! Whoops.
That's something. I watched a bunch of speedruns of this game, and it's.
Seed? Which one is the?
I think you have a life spell.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I watched a bunch of speedruns of this game, and it's very notorious for randomly just killing you. Like in the speedrun as well. Like, it's
like that.
As you can see, it's not like, and believe me, it gets worse. Like it gets so much worse. Later.
I'm glad you can save everywhere.
Okay, you both are stoned within the first turn. That's it. You have to start over again and just hope that you're not getting stoned.
Yeah, especially since you don't got like a lot of like a lot of party members. You only got the 2 party members.
Yeah, and you only get like immunities against this stuff like very late in the game. Like when you find items like armors and shields and whatever, they give you more protections. But if you don't have those, it's rough.
Yeah.
And it's oftentimes not your fault. I mean, at least the nice thing about this one is that you can immediately reset the fight. and don't have to do any walks or whatever again, and that's
And there's no random encounters.
yeah, sure. Like, and as long as you don't leave the area, the enemies stay dead, which is also like a nice thing. Like,
yeah, it's Oh, hey, Sam. We were just talking about you. I forgot. It was probably about RPGs. It's usually when you come up, it's about RPG stuff. Yeah, what I was gonna say earlier is like these animations are a little bit. I mean, these sprites are a little less detailed than the usual like Final Fantasy sprites, which are like very like painted and illustrated looking. But because of it, they definitely have like they get to do that cool thing where you know, they have these different multi-phase damage animations, right?
yeah.
Which I think are really cool.
It's something that I would like more games in general, like that Ilk would do in some way, even if you can't like. Because like hiding the health bar is very often something that is like you have to use an ability to know the health of the enemy, which is like so getting at least some kind of visual feedback of like where you are in the fight and what might happen like would be kind of cool. But,
I got a jumbo bomb?
Yeah, stronger bombs.
Guess my bomb's big now. Oh no. Oops, I deleted a different save. That was probably one of the saves that was on here when I bought this. Valence is feeling sorry for the crab.
Late game save, because this was like the final version of the claw that you get.
This one? Was I going to Aquaria or was I going up this fall?
Up is the...
Oh yeah, I was going to the pyramid, that's what it was.
Maybe you want to rest or whatever.
Oh right, you have to rest.
Yeah, if you want. Just to like so that you have full health again.
Yep. And well, more importantly because I need the charges. Might as well do that.
So, just in general, seeds refill magic, I think, and potions do health.
Okay, seeds are for magic.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was like a revive item.
And like apparently there's a way to like somehow underflow the seed count and you get unlimited seeds basically. That's like again, I watched a bunch of
speedrun strats, yeah.
And there's also a way where you can like corrupt some stuff and skip basically a whole area of the game.
Okay, what are the okay. I see a switch in the statue. Oh, it's just like straight up real pyramid. How do I push the button? Wait, what? Oh, no, okay. Oh, sure. So it's cool that you can like interact with the environment in this game.
Yeah.
Even now, I like kind of feel like there's gonna be a random encounter, even though I know there isn't. It just looks like one of those spaces.
Now that you say it, I'm pretty sure they will like you will run.
Oh, there you go.
Because there are like in each area there are dungeons where the enemies are invisible at first.
Oh,
not
weird.
Random. You have to like each dungeon then has an item that makes them visible. So you can get through the dungeon without without it, but you might run into like additional encounters that way.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And yeah, Sam, Eric's on the voice chat.
Hi.
Hey, you.
I'm random internet person.
Random internet. Is it Ernst Mocha?
Yeah, Ernst Mocha. ERNSTMOKKA.
You made a couple cool video games.
Well, mostly one.
Yeah, well, I did play that one a lot.
Yeah.
I did see their fucking faces.
It's like what I find fun is like realizing how much I still remember of this. Like, okay, I watched like additional stuff as well, but it's still like a lot of like, oh yeah, I remember like walking through this stuff and like, kind of also like what are like specific enemies vulnerable against and whatever. For some reason, I memorize this kind of stuff, but like for example, like names of people that I meet, are immediately gone. So
Yeah, it's weird, like the things that like stick in your brain, right? I think this is actually
Yeah.
the farthest I've gone because I got up to that ice part before, and I don't think I got past that. One thing I gotta do is I gotta remember to go back to the menu. Oh, you know what? I don't need to do that on the cartridge version. This thing like saves the SRAM, like the save data,
Mhm.
anytime you go to the menu. So sometimes I forget to do that and then lose like an hour of progress. Oh, did you see that man fall?
Yeah, it's like
Oh, the snowman animation. Everybody you meet in this game is stronger than you. And they come
yeah,
in with like way better abilities and weaponry, and they're just
yeah,
like way
but
more
they,
competent than you.
yeah, but they don't level. So
Yeah.
over time, the enemy's level gets higher, and they like in comparison get weaker, and you level up
I
in
guess I
time.
can't go
So
there.
like they're stronger at first, but later on not as much.
Yeah, and they all leave anyway because they're not motivated to go save
Yeah.
the world.
I mean, they rotate, so like
Yeah.
you get
Do
feedback.
you see them again?
Twice or three
Okay,
times.
so
Yeah,
you do
yeah,
see
yeah,
them
yeah.
again.
Like most of them.
Dang.
And they always have like changed equipment and new abilities and like obviously higher levels. And
Oh,
it's
that's really cool.
Kind of cool to see. Oh, what can they do now? And like,
Ultra touch. Wow.
can you use them?
Okay, I guess I can't hit them. Yeah, it's like because in most RPGs you're the one doing all that stuff, right? So you kind of see them, but here it's like you're kind of catching up with them and then seeing, oh yeah, they've been kind of doing things while you've been gone. I think I should save now. Yeah, this definitely has like a Game Boy. I know I keep saying it, but it definitely has like a Game Boy feel, right?
Yeah.
That's probably like the only thing it actually has in common with Mystic Quest on the Game Boy.
Yeah. I mean, I think Saga 3 or Final Fantasy Legend 3 basically uses the same engine and tile set like this one, because you can also jump. You can also jump in that game, and it looks the overworld sprites look very, very similar.
Yeah, it's really good. These sprites are just, they have like a very specific charm to them.
Yeah.
Did I go here already? No, because there's an enemy there. Okay.
I'm never going to like how they, or get tired of like them
falling and like their damage animations.
Yeah, and like sighing out of existence.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I love this Medusa girl just turning into a snake.
Yeah, it's and it's also like what I can find kind of fun, just like when you see new enemies, then finding out, okay, how are they going to look when they're hurt?
Yeah, it makes me really exciting to find a new enemy. Anything here? Nope. Cool. Yeah, Sam, if you want to play this game, it's relatively low-key, besides randomly killing you. And what is this game, like 20 hours? 20, maybe 30 most? It's not too long.
I think it depends. I think it's not that much to do. Like there are 4 like large areas.
Yeah, like you can kind of pad it out by doing all the combat trial, the arenas, the fighting arenas, to get more experience and stuff.
Like 10 random encounters. I mean, some of them in general, at some point they are useful because they give you few levels, and
Mhm.
I vaguely recall getting into trouble when I played because I didn't do any of those,
Yeah, I'll probably do some of
and
them,
it's not. Yeah.
maybe even off
And
stream, but
yeah, and some of them also give you like new magic, and sometimes even useful magic. I think one of the life spell is behind one of them. I don't know which one.
wow. Oh, okay, I
Um,
should research that because that actually sounds pretty useful.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, I mean, they're incredibly tedious because it's 10 fights in a row, and there are like, I think, 3 different encounters that you can get.
So do you keep
And
going
yeah,
back to
just
them, or do you just have to do them all at once?
no, you do 10, and like you can do them anywhere, like whenever you want them.
Okay.
They're like kind of like tracking how many fights you fought, like whatever. You fight 5, and then you leave, and then you have to fight the other 5 at some point, and then the spot is done.
Oh, okay.
And,
So you can just walk up
yeah,
to them
so-
and do whatever.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the good thing is that it's like a limited amount, and then you're guaranteed an item or something that you can use,
Yep.
and you get experience, and then you can move on. Oh yeah, it's like this.
I really like the magic animations too, with getting
Yeah.
electrified and turning into a snowman.
Yeah, and you're confused, which is always fun. Best parts are like when they hit themselves, or like.
Yeah. Oh, just that that squid just hung its head and then just walked out. Looked more like it was just like really depressed than hurt.
Yeah, like just I'm going home. I'm done.
Yeah. I'm not fighting you anymore. I'm done with this.
Yeah. Sam in chat, I'll be back on my Final Fantasy quest once I finish Link's Awakening, which I think I've almost done. Which is cool because Link's Awakening is very, very cool.
It's really good. The
and then
remake has been surprising.
I haven't played it so far because money. It's like too expensive for me.
Yeah, it is like a full price game.
$60. Like, okay, in December I bought Pokemon, but I actually didn't really have the money for it. But
Right.
I did it anyway because I was very bored on that day.
How does the conversion rate work out for you two there?
It's 60 euros. So
60
it's like
euros.
slightly more. Oh, wait a second. No, Pokemon was slightly cheaper. Like, I think it was like around 50 or 55. Which is why I bought it, because oh, it's a bit cheaper than I thought it would be. But most games are 60 euros. Like Link's Awakening is 60 euros. All the download titles are 60 euros.
Wow.
And also like Nintendo rarely discount stuff. So like I've been
Yeah, they
waiting
never
for
discount anything.
for Demon X Machina to get discounted at some point because I want to play that game. Like I had a lot of fun with the demo, but
Well,
so far I had not.
I feel like the PC version is gonna like end up being discounted before the Switch version.
Yeah, but I don't know if my PC can run it.
Yeah, I have that
It's
problem
like
too.
8 years old at this point.
I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I pirate things to play them for like 30 minutes and just see if they can run.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
because,
it's okay.
like, you can just return things if they don't run on Steam, right? But then it like takes 2 days and it's gotta go back into your account and whatever. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't want to risk it.
the money is basically spent anyways. I can't transfer, like when I want to transfer stuff from my Steam wallet to my PayPal account or get to my PayPal account and then back to my bank account, like it takes almost half a month, and in that time like I'm broke anyway.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, you both got petrified.
Didn't know that could happen. Give up? No. So do I just... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
You
nice.
have to do it again. Like,
I'm glad
until-
I was like, I didn't save for a while.
Yeah, the great thing about this is like it's completely out of your control. You're getting past this fight when the game decides it's time for you to get past it, not before.
I'm just glad that I didn't have to reload the save.
Yeah. Seven Check, I'm playing the remake and I'm in love with it. I got it as a gift from family. Yeah, it's again, like I really like how the remake looks. What I like just from looking at it, there are things that I like kind of like didn't like as much, like sound effects and whatever, but
Yeah.
I'm like very picky about that stuff. And also like I played the Game Boy version a lot,
I
and
really
I'm
like the
very
Game Boy
attached
version.
to the way the game sounds there.
Mhm.
And it's like you kind of have to fight against the discrepancy and like say it's fine, it's just you, and
Oh,
like
what is this?
because it sounds
Gather?
it's the not non-copyright infringing Beholder version.
Yeah. The first thing I thought was that one character from Marvel vs. Capcom. Oh, I don't remember what its name is. It's like that. It's just also a beholder. His eye. Oh my god! I just threw a bomb in its giant eye. Oh, that's painful.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the remake is also just like,
Oh.
I'm also very attached to like the original Game Boy version. Like, I don't like how the color version looks even.
Yeah.
Just because of like the color palette choices and stuff. But I do wish they brought back like the camera thing, where like if you go to certain spots and do certain things, you'd get like a little illustrated portrait of Link doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of new to me when I like got it on the on my DS, because I only played the normal Game Boy version, and there the camera wasn't in there. And then I like you only can get the Game Boy Color one, which kind of like
I don't like that.
I was a bit frustrated. It's like, come on, please let me just play the one I played when I was 8 or something, because I want the nostalgia and nothing else.
Yeah, that was the first Zelda I played, and I was very confused because I like vaguely knew what Zelda was, but like Zelda wasn't even in the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's this then? Wait, is that a thing that I can? Is that a thing I can interact with? Oh,
yep.
Yeah, you can jump.
Every
Forget
time
you jump every time.
Blinking. Yeah, it's like what? It's like I remember when I played this game.
Steph says Zelda's not in Link's Awakening with Princess Peaches. Yeah, she sure is. I was also very confused when that guy got a picture of Princess Peach. I'm like, wait, isn't that a Mario character? What's going on?
For me, it was, oh yeah, of course, like whatever. Like I hadn't really any like real attachment to this, like in some way. It was like what was really weird with us was Zelda was like my mother played it a lot. Like my mother played a bunch of Game Boy games back then. Like played a lot of Tetris. Was really good at Tetris, and also played Zelda. And we were like incredibly stuck on the first dungeon, and like had no idea how to go there. And there's like where you get the rook's feather, I think it's called.
The jump.
Yeah. Like before that, you have to like push a block to open a door, and we didn't figure it out for weeks. And at some point, my mother was like, "Hey, I found this thing called rook's feather. Like, what does it do?" I like, that's what we need to finish it. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, really. And I ended up like finishing it. Like completely finishing it, a few years later when we like started visiting a larger like electronics store which had a guidebook of the game, and I never bought the guidebook. Every time we went
you would just sit down and read it.
and just took a look at the dungeon I was stuck in. Like I was like stuck at the 6th dungeon for a few years because I couldn't figure out that you had to bomb a specific wall. And I was like doing the most like completely obtuse stuff, like thinking, oh, maybe if I go somewhere else and put a bomb there, or like try like to push something over there, or like do weird sequence breaks of maybe this is something that will then give me a way to get past this dungeon, because this is how like you then start like projecting much more like complicated things into like the game itself, even though the game is like incredibly simple when you look at it. But because you're not in the same space, you start like thinking that it's much bigger and much more complicated.
And you really just start thinking weird things.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, no, it was just like you walked past the spot where you had to put a bomb like several hundred times at that point or something.
Yeah, my brothers and I definitely took like forever to beat the first dungeon because we just like didn't understand like what it was asking of us.
Yeah.
But now when you go in it, you beat it in like 2 minutes, and you're like, why did this take like a month
Yeah,
to finish?
it's really strange. The guy you get the Princess Peach picture to is from SimCity. Yeah, it's like also it's like that I knew because like there was like before that some promotion about SimCity for the SNES, and then oh yeah, that's that character, but not really questioning why he's there. I mean, again, I was 8 or something. Um,
Yeah, I didn't really think about the mechanics of why they were there.
yeah, but it's
Okay.
in general, I think it's an interesting Zelda game to start playing it in some way because it's like so different from the other one.
Yeah, it kind of ruined a lot of other Zeldas for me, to be honest. I was really confused that you couldn't just map any weapon to any button when I played Link's Awakening. Oh, here we go. Or not Link's Awakening.
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past. I was like, hey, why is one button always sword? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I think this is something that you can like use for a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, Link's Awakening did it a little bit with like stuff like bomb arrows or what.
Yeah, bomb arrows were really cool, and I'm glad they kept that part in the remake. Because since you can put both of those items on at the same time.
And also like when you have the flying rooster, you can, and the boomerang, you can
you throw it and you like go into the air and just kills everything below you.
Yeah, the boomerang.
That actually might even be more useful in the remake, since like you used to have to stop because when you have the flying rooster, you can't fly to the next area, right?
Yeah.
So, but now you can just do it because it's a continuous map.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember like back when I was stuck in the 6th dungeon, I actually managed to like get to the 8th dungeon, but I couldn't go anywhere there. Like I pressed myself through that firewall and like managed to survive it, and then got.
Okay, I have no idea what I'm doing. Do you?
I think you need to go to the left. Like
yeah, there was a thing I activated.
First floor and then to the left. Yeah.
The first floor?
Yeah, first floor and then to the left. There are like 2 ways you can go in there.
This is 3.
I think.
Okay, I'll try that. Also, it's like the perspective is a little weird, and then like the up and down stairs, or just the shading is just different.
Yeah.
So it's like a little hard to notice.
I wanted to scroll chat on your screen. Well, okay. It's like, what? It's like, reminds me of getting stuck in a second Golden Sun game where I needed to get an item and couldn't figure out how to get it. It ended up being that I used the right power but was standing in the wrong part of the room. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure that out for years until I revisited that save. That's so...
It's always nice when you like can't figure something out and the reason is just you were slightly off.
Yeah.
Or you were facing this wall instead of this one.
Yeah, a PC game that I played and that came out in '95 was called, I think in English it was Relentless or something, like a Little Big Adventure.
I've only heard of it as Little Big Adventure.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, like still admired as one of the best like oppressive like city spaces in some way, like where you have to be really careful because you're a fugitive to not be seen, and there are like NPCs that will rat you out and will try to extort money from you and stuff like that. The German translation was awful. The voice acting was incredibly bad.
Did they do a German dub?
Yeah, no, German dubs were like very,
it's an adventure game, right?
Because like,
it's an adventure game, right?
It's an action adventure game where you had like 4 different stances, so to speak, like normal where you can interact with things, and sporty where you can run and jump, and like aggressive where you can punch people, and sneaking. Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, and there was some kind of temple a bit later on in a desert, and we couldn't get, like, there was some kind of jump we had to make, and me and my brother were like, never managed to do it, and like it, like this jump, we ended up calling it, like in English, translated, the spot.
Yeah.
And every time, like when there was like a game where we were stuck in somewhere, like, oh, this game has a spot, like, like as a way of saying there's like a place in the game where we are unable to progress, and like then when the sequel of the game came out, there were like several stages where my brother said, "Oh, did you hit the spot?" And I never like really hit it. Like I actually managed to complete that game, and then again years later with I think with DOSBox, I played it again and like immediately got the jump. It's like great. Like I think it must have been 10 years later or something when I played it again.
Yeah. It's very. Wait. I can't remember.
Samuel, check. I got stuck in Pokemon Red for like half a year because I didn't know I had to buy a guy a drink. Oh my god, when I was 7. Pokemon Red was the first game I ever played. Took me a while before I learned you could save.
No, you can save.
With Link's Awakening being incredibly confused that you get a game over screen and like what? And the game is so big and you only have one life. How can you finish it? Until I realized, wait, there's a save system.
Yeah, you have to go into like you have to either read the manual, which I didn't have, or you have to go to the library.
Yeah, and save systems I only knew from Amiga games before that. There were some, but you always had to like insert a specific floppy disk to save your game on.
So, like it would save it externally?
Like, yeah, it was completely yeah, the Amiga didn't have a hard drive. So
oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
I just kind of assumed every computer had one.
No, ours didn't. I think you could get one and then
but it didn't come with it.
No, we like always like insert your save diskette and put it out, and like you had like there was a certain rhythm to it and whatever, and not every game, like the LucasArts Adventures had save games and a few others, but a lot that should have had save games hadn't, obviously.
Yeah, that's why everything had a trainer, right?
Yeah, and so I was like incredibly like confused that you could save on a Game Boy game. Like how? Really, because a lot of Game Boy games didn't even save your high score. Somewhere like Tetris never saved your high score.
Well,
like,
they were at least on the at least at like a glance they seemed less advanced, right?
Yeah, and it's like and again, like figuring out, like understanding you don't have to have like an external thing where you have to save on. Like what?
That's not probably memory cards made more sense to you.
Yeah, in some way, it's like the same thing. And then later on, when you had a hard drive, of course, like Pokemon Red was the first game I had that was mine, and first that I had to save the game. Yeah, it's also interesting, like again to see. And this is something how games developed in general, like with the advancement of like storage in some way, that it also like kind of governs the size of a game and the way it's made up. Like when it's like when storage is very like little.
Yeah, right. Like PlayStation games, they just kind of went all out.
Yeah, it's very hard to build more complicated games, obviously, because they get harder to complete. I mean, there was also always the way of making incredibly complicated passwords that you definitely like didn't like completely copied correctly, so that they didn't work after you closed the game. River City Ransom.
Oh god.
Which I think had that,
Metroid
like,
had. I think Metroid and Zelda also had those because they were Famicom disk system games, and they just didn't have the option to save on like when they came here.
Yeah, I kept replaying the beginning of the game over and over and didn't realize at least a week that there was a save option in the menu.
Oh, that reminds me when we got a GameCube, and that was actually the first system that we needed a memory card for, but my parents didn't know that. so we didn't have one at the time, and we just play like
Uh,
Rogue Squadron 3 or whatever from the start every single time.
yeah. No, my brother and me, we played like River City Ransom like in one sitting because we never could figure out the password system. So
Yeah,
we always
I
like
would
spent
never
like
want to like
yeah
because I'm using these like clone hardwares, right, that don't have save states
yeah
and stuff.
yeah.
Sometimes I have to put in passwords and stuff, but anything like I never want to put in a password for Mystic Ninja.
Yeah, it's like
Because
and
I've done it
like
before with my brother, where we
uh,
had to do that to like save later, and then we decided no, we're just gonna use save states instead.
I remember with one game which like uh, historically is considered to be an incredibly bad game but back then was my favorite game ever called Rick Dangerous 2, also on the Amiga, which is basically imagine I wanna be the guy but with limited life and limited ammunition and also no saving and barely any checkpoints. So you
Yeah.
start at the beginning of the game and you can't like you have to play through it with the lives that you have.
Yeah, it's kind of infamous,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
only reason I know about it is because I read so much Rock Paper Shotgun back in the day, and it would just they would always be talking about old European like PC games that I'm like, I have no idea
Yeah.
what that is. I've never seen that
Yeah.
game here. Nobody has
I
ever talked
I
about it.
streamed it a few years ago, and I like was like so infuriated, like thinking, oh my, like I had no idea how bad. Like I completely forgot how, not really bad, but how difficult it was, and like how unfair. In a lot
Yeah,
of
I
like
mean, a lot of
there,
Amiga
there,
games were unfair, but
yeah.
they were unfair in like a very
No.
specific way.
Yeah, but this game was basically unfair and it was laughing at you. Like there were like spots where like there were laser cannons, like you were climbing into a UFO, and there were laser cannons that were shooting at you, and there were buttons that you had to press to deactivate them. But there were sometimes arrows pointing up, like here's a button that you should press, and there were sometimes buttons where this arrow would pop up, indicating, oh, this is button you should press. You go there, press the button, and you get shot. And
Yeah,
that's it. Like
it was
and
it was a
cool.
cruel game.
Yeah, and it's like I mean I played it with because we had a pirated version, like almost all of the games we had back then.
Yeah, like every game was basically that, right?
Yeah, we had I think 4 legitimate games. 2 that came with the Amiga that my oldest brother got for his like 10th birthday back then. And the rest, most of the rest was my dad was a teacher, and one of his one of the kids he had in school had like copies of Amiga games, and occasionally that kid would come over to us for like a few hours and copy us a bunch of games.
Oh man,
like-
I might be dead.
doesn't
I
matter.
think. Yeah, I know it doesn't matter that much. I also, this is still killing me. The cure
Yeah.
and heal are reversed.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'm dead.
Anyway, and Rick Dangerous, there was like one part where it got really far, but because you can't save and anything, and it was like winter, and we were about to go like taking a sled and like riding down a hill, like a bit out in the countryside, and like I didn't want to stop playing, so I left the computer running for like switched off the monitor and then snuck back into the basement to like keep into the game. It's like
yeah, that was definitely a common thing with like older games.
yeah, it's like
Oh, it's nice that the life spell gives you full
yeah
health, because like a lot of games do not do that, and it's kind of aggravating.
Which kind of makes the cure spell a bit redundant, aside from I think letting you heal like multiple people.
Yeah, you can heal multiple people.
Yeah, but aside from that, there isn't really a need to use it, and like
Yes, and the blind animation being
others.
just the person looking the other way is really good. It's like they're not blind because they physically can't see. It's just like decided that they're not gonna look for a while. They're just really scared.
I mean, at the same, like I'm always also thinking about the blind status in like the earlier Final Fantasy games where they have just like shades on. That was also
Yeah,
kind of
that's
cool.
really good.
Like, and also like I think in Final Fantasy VI the blind status actually doesn't work, which was also like all of these games have like some kind of like weird idiosyncrasy in them where like some stat doesn't really work or like a status doesn't really work or like works too well.
Yeah, Magpie is repeatedly getting their heartstrings pulled by that sad squid every time.
I mean,
Did I
it's
miss
so
something? I feel like I missed something. No, I got all this, and I went up into that other thing.
Yeah.
Got whatever item was in there. Right.
I don't think that I can help you here because it's like this is like I think one of the worst dungeons in general, like in terms of like finding.
Yeah, it's
your
very
way
much just
through
a labyrinth.
Yeah, it doesn't also one thing that also doesn't help is that a lot of it looks the same kind of.
Yeah, it
like
really does.
The floors, the tiles, and it's kind of ugh.
And it's hard with no enemies, because enemies can kind of be like a landmark for where you've been, right? So if you can see the enemies, you can kind of be like, oh yeah, we'll go this some way. But there's nothing like that here.
So maybe you have.
Are those
to go the
flashing
other way.
eyes? Can I fall down and then hit those?
Yeah, I think this is the way how you get to the boss. The boss is actually, I think, in the basement, and you have to like get up first and then fall all the way down.
Sounds like a thing I would do.
Salmon chat. A lot of things in FS6 don't actually work in on the SNES version. I think magic defense might be broken. I think as well. Like there's something with evasion or whatever. Like again, I watch a lot of like SNES Final Fantasy speedruns, and like they always do something with magic evasion or whatever, which basically leads to characters in the end being completely invincible, because they can't get hit by anything. Or by almost anything. But that's also something that I really like about these games, especially like again to go back to Final Fantasy V, where like you can get really broken combinations of like abilities and classes, but also the game, at least in the later stages, kind of requires you to break it in some ways, because the bosses are like equally like broken in some ways, with like very specific immunities and very specific attack patterns and whatever, and you kind of have to understand them and then adjust. And the funny thing there is like there's a huge there can be a huge difference between like you being prepared for a boss fight and it being incredibly easy, and you being unprepared and like just like dying within 3 turns or whatever, because like you're getting countered every turn when you do something specific or whatever.
Yeah, that
like,
actually reminds me of like the first time I played Final Fantasy VI, and I didn't realize that there was a defensive posture that the first boss gets into, so it would keep shooting magic at it, and then like eat shit because it retaliates.
And the funny thing is with these bosses, like that every like ATB boss like of the first games has like a phase like this where it does something for a while and you have to stop attacking it. But still, of course, like when I played it the first time, I also ran into it, but also because I couldn't read the text.
Yeah, that'll also do it. Okay, I don't think I've been this way. At least it seems like it.
FF5, it feels a lot easier to find the sort of overpowered stuff than the other games. Yeah, I think like to some way definitely, because you have also a lot of classes and
there's like way more variables, right? So there's way more ways that you can break it.
Yeah. Which makes the Forza Fiesta kind of interesting, because you're like kind of limited to some of them, unless you're like last year I think I got incredibly lucky and got a bunch of like very, very nice classes, and it's kind of cool. The year before that, I think my first one like was very like painful. Oh no, 2 years ago, like I had like the first class was White Mage, which means like the first 2 hours were like atrocious because I couldn't damage anything.
Oh, because your main
Like-
character was a white mage.
Yeah, all the 4-drop fiesta means your whole party has to be white mage.
Oh
for
my
the first-
god.
For the first 2 hours or so. It's like, it's like it was so bad, and like especially because the boss behind the second crystal counters physical attacks, and the only thing you can do as a white mage at that point is do physical attacks. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is actually what we were talking about Sam doing, because you were talking about 4-drop fiesta, and we were talking about how that was the first way that Sam played. How they played Final Fantasy V the first time, and it was miserable.
I think it's better when you know the game a little bit, and they are also like I always played like with I think 3 guides open, like 3 different
Wow.
guides where like can look stuff up, because I can't remember everything, and like I want to then check, okay, if I have that character, like what are the items that I need for specific things, how do the bosses behave, how much HP do they have, like there are like very like extensive guides about that stuff, but it's also like, okay, you have then like it's a very like strange playing experience in some way.
Let's see.
I just ended up with a really bad group of low damage and no healers. Yeah, and that's especially when you're not like used to the game in some ways, like just awful. Like, and especially not having like some way to regain health it can be very bad, because like it takes a while in the game, I think, to get like good healing items. So you have to rely on like very basic potions for much longer than they're useful, I think.
Yeah.
And that's...
Oh, I should just heal her. What am I doing? I'm so used to like waiting for
Pretty sure that Phoebe is good enough to just like shoot them.
She definitely has done it. She's definitely done it without shooting.
I mean, it's
without being able to look.
definitely feat to like shoot at them without like with turning their back to them. Like,
Yeah, I just imagine her like taking a bow and like shooting it over her shoulder somehow. I guess. Well, I haven't used cure that much, so cure here. Then do I have fire? There you go.
yeah. The good thing is when you like start figuring out how, like what enemies are weak against and stuff like that.
There's some enemies that are like aquatic that are weak to fire stuff, and it like messes my brain up because I'm so used to Pokemon, and every time it's an aquatic enemy, there was a water type, right?
Yeah. Good night, Sam.
Yeah, good night, Sam. I know it's late over there.
Yeah, it's like just past midnight for me.
Yep. I'm probably
It's
gonna
okay,
see
like-
if I can get a little further in this.
Do
and
however
then-
long you want. Like really, it's I usually get into bed at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna probably switch to the other game in a little
Yeah,
bit.
that as well, because this dungeon is like
Yeah,
I
I was
think-
hoping to be done with it before the hour was over, but it seems like it might take.
it's
might have to
it's
return to
awful,
it.
Like, but it's like difficult to orient yourself. At least the kind of positive part is like you probably have like cleared out most of the enemies. I mean, you gained 2 levels since you started it, so
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting pretty close. I finally got like
yeah.
the right direction because I cleared out all these other areas.
I think the gathers, also these like,
The gathers,
walking ice
right?
dogs, the gather, are weak against bombs, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah, I should just use those more because I have like a lot of them. But anytime something's
general, like-
limited,
One thing that really annoyed me about this game was that the bombs are like effective for so long. Like for so long, they're basically your strongest weapon.
because they also hit everybody.
Yeah, and they like the lesser enemies they are, the more damage they do. So they're like even more effective with singular enemies. They aren't as good with like multiple when you just want to like do something specific. So you can switch around or have to switch around sometime. but using them is usually a good way of like dealing with enemies. And it's way back I found it already annoying because I wanted to use the other weapon. I like the claw weapons because they give status to enemies and other things. And
yeah,
no, the bombs do the most damage.
it's
So
still
use
pretty
the
fun
bombs.
just to see the other animations.
Yeah.
And this, so far at least, the game hasn't like thankfully hasn't been like so punishing that it matters.
Yeah. And I also like, for example, like the sound effects of the axe. So why not using the axe? No, bombs do more damage. So you're using bombs.
Yeah, that is like definitely just a thing in RPGs specifically, where people will always gravitate towards the most effective thing.
Yeah, which is why I always like it when you like kind of try to differentiate stuff, not only with like, okay, how much damage does something do, but also like how does it differ in like play styles in some way? How can you differentiate that in that way, and not really what is more effective, but how do you want to like tackle this situation?
Yeah, who can you hit, what enemy can you hit that you can't hit as effectively with this one?
Yeah. And also like how does it look, how does it feel, how does it differ from other things? Is it faster? Maybe you can take
this dungeon's so fucking long.
Yep.
Okay, you know what?
It's bad.
I think it's time to take a break on this one.
Yeah.
We'll get something to eat, and then we'll be back with Ihatovo. Ihatovo? I think that's how you say it, right? Yeah. Ihatovo Monogatari, which is a little, like, it's like a pretty low-key, nice magical realist adventure / RPG game. If you like something like an Animal Crossing or something, might be up your alley. So we'll be seeing you in a bit, everybody.